Chatting tonight with Smriti Irani, senior BJP leader and former union minister. Smriti Irani, I'm sure you watched the debate, right? You saw almost all of it. I watched the last 4 hours almost without moving, for a moment away from the screen. So how do you think it went? If you were to summarize, how do you think it went? Especially for Rahul Gandhi. How do you think it went for Rahul Gandhi?
I think, as always, the opposition was grasping at straws. As always, the opposition was extremely gleeful about the fact. In fact, if you remember, after the Pahalgam attack, there were many in the opposition who mocked the Prime Minister, irrespective of the victims that were slain mercilessly by terrorists for his 56-inch ki chhati. Opposition that had hoped that they could trap the Prime Minister today stood exposed, not only with empirical evidence, but also some historical facts which obviously pinched a particular political group in Parliament today. I believe the Prime Minister today reinforced India's stance that we shall not be held hostage by the term nuclear blackmail. I think the Prime Minister not only celebrated the prowess, the valor of the Indian Armed Forces, but also the operational freedom that the Indian Armed Forces enjoyed and the responsibility with which they responded to acts of terror. I also believe that many questions that the opposition had mounted were successfully met with answers, steeped again not only in evidence, but also the firmness with which the Modi government has responded to such a terror attack.
Smriti Irani, I found one thing very telling when the Prime Minister said that, you see, the opposition always thinks that they have got me. Like he mentioned that when Wing Commander Abhimanyu was Abhinandan, correct myself, when Wing Commander Abhinandan was taken into Pakistani custody, then the opposition was gleeful, thinking we've got Modi now. And then he said that Wing Commander Abhinandan was brought back with full honor and valor. He also talked about Doklam, the time when they were, the Congress was, Rahul Gandhi and all were lunching with the Chinese. He seemed to allude that this time also in Operation Sindoor, there was an attempt at, quote unquote, getting him or putting him in a political spot or going against him, even at the cost of going against the national interest and the interest narrative that is necessary to build about building a Sindoor level of confidence. So I thought that was very telling. The Prime Minister seemed to have realized somewhere that the opposition wanted to hit him politically, both during Doklam, during Wing Commander Abhinandan's period of custody and also Operation Sindoor.
I think it's not only the Prime Minister, but the entire nation understands the gotcha games that the opposition and particularly the Congress party plays. What I believe is extremely inhumane is the games that are being played at the cost of lives, is the games that are being played at the cost of the reputation of the Indian Armed Forces. Prime Minister Modi has time and again said that he can understand the vitriol of the Congress party against the Prime Minister particularly, but for that vitriol, for that hatred and that malice to transform into hate towards India is something that he has been flabbergasted about. He has been pained about it, but I think today the Prime Minister spoke with great restraint. He spoke with a great sense of responsibility, recognizing that there are operational interests, there are interests of the Indian Armed Forces, which cannot be a part of the rhetoric that the opposition is seeking. I also believe that the Prime Minister has very, very forcefully given a message not only to the opposition, but also those across the border. I particularly think that the opposition has spent many years in the UPA with many terror camps in the dossiers that they continued to exchange during their era. But for those dossier-based terror camps to be annihilated and demolished during Prime Minister Modi's tenure, I think, is telling evidence about how he has, under his leadership, dealt with terror.
Why did the Prime Minister separate the Congress from the Vadra Gandhi family? At the very end of his speech, when he said to the Congress benches, I would like to say that for the sake of one family, do not work in Pakistan's interest. Was he being soft on the Congress when he said, don't come under the pressure of one family and be pro-Pakistan?
I think it is very telling that the Prime Minister spoke possibly the whispers that have been heard for too long in the corridors of power about how certain people from the Congress party now recognize that their political interests, and particularly national interests, are being held hostage by one particular family. For the Prime Minister to voice their grievance is also a political indication. There have been cryptic messages given by many a Congress people across social media. There have been cryptic silences by those who have been vociferous in upholding India's interests, especially vis-a-vis Operation Sindoor.
Yeah.
And that those nationalist voices that have been stymied or silenced during a very, very needed debate in Parliament is telling as to how loyalty to a family, in fact, upstages the need to be loyal towards one's country.
Well, thank you very much. That's Smriti Irani. Ladies and gentlemen, very, very restrained as well. It's great to see her back on air on these big issues tonight.